So we'll start now. Today we are going to talk about balance. I know that you guys have started the assignment 5. Assignment 5 is about using the emphasis and the focal point, and also about the balance. Now I know most of you guys have done the sketches and had the critique. I will go, when I go through the balance lecture, I will also refer to your assignment 5. So then you know how, because in the balance also you can identify certain focal points like emphasis, because it's normally it's actually show you some focal points in it, in the symmetrical balance and isometrical balance. I will refer to the assignment 5 as well when I'm going through it. So first we should know what is balance. Balance is in the design part of it. It's like the weight, normally the balance, what it's called about the weight. But in the design and the art forms, it's about the visual weight. It's like you have two elements. It should weigh the same, but in the visually, not with the actual weight of it. So when we refer to a balance, what do you know now? When you, let's say you have one image in your mind, normally what it does, it separate the image into two parts and check the balance. And the other way is also it's you read the axis and then you read the two parts, the left side and the right side. So the left should weight the same like on the right side. It's not only the vertical, it can be horizontal and diagonal. We will learn about it when we go through. See, in this image also, what you can see, is it balanced or not? In a way, the image, the visually, is it balanced? How you feel? I'm not talking about any principles or anything, just what do you think about the image? Left side, right, yeah, because of this woman standing here and this strip here. What do you think about this part? Is it balanced? Let's imagine you don't have this part here. This part is not there. Do you think it's balanced? The white and black, the light and shade, is it balanced in a diagonal way? You are right. Is it not balanced because of these things have more weight on this side? But when you just crop the image somewhere here, it's like when you think about it in a diagonal way, it has an equal weight on top and bottom. Even though it's black and white, it has a certain weight of it. It's looking like balanced, but as she said, now here on this side, it's looking more weight on it. So this is what I meant by there are two things like the axis and the equilibrium, the two sides. Every image, when you look at it, you imaginary make a line in vertically or horizontally or diagonally. It's according to the image. Now in this one, what you see here, the three elephants and the duck, it's more weight. Actually, it should be more weight on this side. But how we read it through this axis, and we compare this side, is it balanced with this one? Let's look into this image. So see here, where do you find the axis when you're looking at this image? Is it vertical axis or horizontal or diagonal? Vertical, yes. So let's look into the big circle on top. You have half circle on left side and another part on the right side. But can you see there is a part on the left side, another curve, but you don't see it on the right hand side, but you see a piece of a triangle there. So that's how he tried to equal the weight of the both sides, not using the same elements on the left and right. If you can use the simple ways, like if you have this part here, you can use the same thing onto this side to make it balance. The other way is to have a part like this. To balance it, he add another element onto this side. So let's see here. He incorporated a big triangle here, but you don't see the triangle, a big triangle on this side. What the artist does is he uses small triangles and another element on this side to balance this whole thing on both sides. So this is like, that's the two major characteristics in a balance. It's the axis and the equilibrium, how you balance it on the both sides. And in this image, it has been given more weight on top on the left hand side, and bottom right, the weight has been balanced. But in this one, it says the equilibrium has tilted, and it has been tilted, and the equilibrium has on one side, the weight is on one side. But what do you think? Is it balanced or imbalanced? What do you guys think? Might be different, because I think it's in a different way, even though the picture is here saying that it's not. What do you guys think? Is it balanced or imbalanced? Doesn't matter, there is no right or wrong, because sometimes you can say certain things and add into it. Yeah. Imbalance. What's the reason for that? Just can you?
It's just like in a good way of balance, because it's balance and like the other gray. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it's okay. Right. Yeah. You think it's imbalance. Yeah. In my opinion, I think it's balanced, but she's right also, because it's in balance when you are thinking of in the center position, it's looking like it's not balanced on the both sides. But I think it's balanced because of I'm thinking in a diagonal way. So it's like this the part at the part at this part is also equal to this part. So it's like something like this. I think this whole image is balanced, but she's right also. In a way, it's in balance, and balance, even though the image is balanced, it's not the perfect one. Imbalance is also important in your design work to get a focus into it. See here, now it's you get your the viewers this can get the viewers attraction very easily when you make it just getting out of the principle also. See this one, this one, I think, we have one called symmetrical balance. We will go through it later in the lecture. This one, what do you think about the axis? Which way? It's vertical or horizontal? Horizontal. Yeah. It's somewhere here. See, it's almost this top part is the same like the bottom. So this what we call the symmetrical balance. We will learn about it when we go through the lecture. So this is the simplest way of doing it. So it's looking like it's balanced. That's why I said some images can be, we can view it as the axis in the vertical, horizontal, and diagonal. Okay, let's think about this one here. Okay. So when you are looking at like this, what do you think about the image? So this whole picture is white, and you have letters here, and you have a black, it's a image of a forest, but it's in a black patch. It's somewhere in the center. So do you think it's balanced or imbalanced? Have more weight in the center, or do you have any idea about it? It says imbalanced, but my opinion is different. What do you guys think about it? Do you have any idea about, is it balance or imbalance? Imbalance. Can you give me the reason for it?
The shape is much darker.
Right. Good. You think it's because of this part is more weighted? Yeah, right. I thought of in a different way. I thought it has the white on top and bottom. I think when I just separate it somewhere here, I think more black on this side and part of it here. I think it's, in my way, I think it's balanced, but she's right. If I had, I think the actual image is something like this. So this is how it is. So then we can say also in some, if it like this, oh sorry, if it's something like this, I think it's more weighted on top and weighted at the bottom. But she's right, if the image is like this, more black is somewhere here, so more weighted here, and that's why your eyes will focus into this text suddenly, because what she said, because of its imbalance, your eyes will focus into this text here. And there, when you are doing your design, just think of when you are putting more weight on bottom, what it does is it's give a stable, like a base. It's we use this one in buildings and interior design as well, and artists also use this principle, like the putting more weight at the bottom. Like the previous image, she said more weight at the bottom. Same like that. So here they put more weight on the image here, so it's looking like stable. And here some of the example for it. This is actually, when we think of it, when I draw a vertical line, what you see, it's looking like balanced on the both side. But if I draw a line horizontally, you feel it like more weight at the bottom and less weight on the top. So this will give like a stable base kind of a feeling for the viewer. So when you are doing your designs in any field, think of when you are putting more weight at the bottom, it's like more structured and more stable. This is another example for it. See here, more weight at the bottom, but you also see a symmetricity here. When you put a vertical, draw a vertical line here, left is almost the same like the right side. This is the other way around. So see here, when you have more weight on top and less weight at the bottom, it's looking like unstable. It's like just dropping this to the floor. Because of the gravity, we feel that if there are more weight on top, it's just, it has a movement in it. So that's why it says like you feel it like unstable and dynamic. These are some of the images to show that as well. See here, because of her is pointing, standing with 1 foot, it's looking like she's dropping. So it's give a motion to this image, and also it's balanced. See here, the image is going, the leg is onto this direction, and also her body is on the other direction as well, to balance the whole composition. But we will learn about this one. It's about motion in pictures. We will learn about it later on. But it's looking like it's dynamic because the more weight and the way she's standing here. So there are 4 types of balance. The simplest way is the symmetrical balance. The other one is the asymmetrical balance. and we will learn about the radial balance and also the crystallographic balance. You can also say all over pattern. So let's see, symmetrical balance is the simplest way of making a balance in a composition. It's like you have vertical, horizontal or diagonal axis, but in the left hand side is almost the same like the right hand side. So you have just like the mirror image of the left to the right, or top to the bottom, or diagonal. It's like if we say diagonal, it's almost this part is the same like this. So if you are using shapes, it's like having the same shapes used on the other side. So these are some of the example for it. In this image, it's almost symmetrical, this and this side. This one is almost the same, but see here, there is this one. This part which is jutting out, it's giving a different attraction for the viewer. It's also important when you are having the symmetricity to give a little change to it. This is another example for the symmetricity. We call it bilateral balance also for this one, for the symmetrical balance. You can, most of you can find this symmetrical balance in the classical architectural work. And the other thing is about the humans. Our body is also symmetrical. If we draw a line in the in vertically left and right side, even though if you go into more details, it's not symmetrical, but when you are looking at it, you know it's symmetrical. So let's think about the assignment 5 that we did. I said I will also go through it. The assignment 5, when you do it in a symmetrical way, so where do you think you find the focal point or the emphasis in it? So let's go to this image. Yes. Where do you find the emphasis here? Or the focal point in a symmetrical way? So just imagine that you have used one letter and you did a symmetrical composition. Where do you find your focal point? Where do you need to make the color or the change of the letter or to give the emphasis in your composition? Where do you think? Anyone has a guess? Yes.
Yeah, it's pointing to the plane. So the plane's darker in the normal lines. In the background is a little bit lighter.
Yeah, I mean, where do you find the focal point in it, in the symmetrical? You, center. Right. Yeah, you are right, center. But there is one thing I am adding into his answer. When you are having a symmetrical design, you can have it in an axis also, because your focal point, as he said, it's centered, but you also can work on this axis and also in the horizontal axis and vertical axis. If you are having it vertically, it's symmetrical on both sides, or horizontally or vertically. So when you are doing your assignment 5, think about it. If your design is almost the symmetrical, try to have the emphasis in almost in the center, in the vertical direction or the horizontal direction. Not to have somewhere here, because the focus is, as he said, almost at the center. See here on this one also, it's almost in the center. So you can now in the symmetricity, you can also find it in in nature, the feathers and the animals and birds, and almost they are symmetrical. And it's you can find also the symmetrical balance in Islamic architecture, because they use certain patterns in symmetricity in their religious buildings. And this is, I think this one is in, this one is in Iran. This is a mosque. And do you know this mihrab means that they use a niche inside a wall to show the direction of the Mecca. Mecca is like where they do the worship, the direction of it. So to show these things, they use this symmetricity and to focus all the prayers to the point of direction. So they use this symmetricity for that. This is a cathedral in, where it is. I forgot the name of it. It's Sagrada Familia in Spain. Yeah, Catholic Church in Spain. See also the symmetricity in it. This one, see, as he said, the focus is in the symmetrical. You have the focus into the center. And this one, you have this vertical axis. See, it's almost. So you can use this one when you are doing your design symmetricity. And the other one is the asymmetrical balance. It's also called informal balance. What we do is, when you see a composition, you imagine an axis here or here. You try to balance it, both sides, to check whether this side is, but you are not making the balance using the same shapes, but you use different shapes and different texture, different color, but try to have the balance, try to have the visually balanced the both sides. The same like what I explained in at the beginning about that half circle and have a big triangle on the right hand side, but he placed 2-3 small triangles and another 2-3 elements on the left hand side to give the balance to the both sides, make it balanced. So these are some of the images, isometric balance. You see it, but when you are looking at it, you don't see this is imbalanced, because even though if you make an axis here and see left and right, it's not the same, but still because of these textures, the shapes make it balanced. Here is another good example for it. See, when you draw a line here, you never see you never find it symmetrical. It use light color, the bright color here and the dark color here, but it's still balanced the way he uses the color, because that's why the color makes a great part in it to make it balanced, and texture and the pattern, how rough, how smooth, and the shape of it, and also the eye direction, your position, where you position your elements. Like if you say in an axis, we have axis here and we put some elements here, and where we put the other elements to make it balance. So this is another great example for the isometric balance. You see this one has a if you make a horizontal line, you see it's almost like balance in an isometrical way. And how the textures he has used the textures to make it balance. Oh. See, this is another picture of isometric balance. You see in the left hand side image, when you look at it, do you think it's balanced? Now think in a different way, like not in the symmetrical. Don't think look into it as a symmetrical balance. Do you think it's balanced? Just look at all the elements and everything in it. Do you think it balanced or not? Just give your opinion. That's totally fine, because everyone will not see the same thing in it. Do you think it's balanced or imbalanced? Huh? Sorry. Imbalanced. Do you think it's because of these people on this side? Right, right. So what I think is you are right in a way. It's this side is more weighted because of you are thinking of the people. It's more. Also think about when you are looking at an image, think about here the shades, the color has played a major role here, and see the shadows. It's also giving a weight to this side. When you are looking at a composition, don't look into it as it has a like the humans and some elements. If you put any elements with a weight, just don't think that has a weight. This is just totally think about in a visual manner. You are correct in a way. You have more weight on this side, more people here, but I think this is balanced because when I draw axis here, you have more shadow here, and the humans are balanced by the shadow on this side. Doesn't matter, you think in a different way, your opinions are okay, but also try to look into certain things in a different way as well. What about this one? What do you guys think about it? Is it balanced or imbalanced? Anyone have idea? My opinion is it's imbalanced because of this lady here. As she said, now I am thinking on. What do you guys think? Can you think in it this way? Just I'm saying another. Let's separate it here on top and bottom. What do you think about the image? I think then in that way it's balanced. The top part against the bottom part. It's the way you are thinking of the image, if and the way you make it symmetricity. But sometimes you also think now this has a black patch here, big, and it has been balanced by this black patch on this side. That's also another way of looking at it. But when you are going on your journey in the design, you will learn about more. When you are looking at certain elements or composition, look into these things: the symmetricity, asymmetric values, and how the pitch. Think in a different way. Don't look into the images as it is. So these are also some balanced images. When you have center, it's looking like totally different on the both side, but it's looking a more balanced way. This is another composition. See here, when you have it separate on the both side, what you have here is it has been balanced with this light, the bright texture here with the dark. Because it's not about, sometimes it's not about the elements weight, but it's sometimes about the color and the shape and the patterns we use. This one is also balanced in a way. I think it's, yeah, it's giving a base here and some weight here and in the center. The other important thing, so when you are having an isometrical balance, if you used in your assignment 5, what you can do is, then you have a little freedom of making the focal point as you want. You can just maneuver it in a way. See here, just like the previous image that I show here. If you have something like this, you have an isometrical balance, you can have the focal point in a different locations. In a symmetrical, most probably it has to be in the center. And radial balance is something like you have one element in the center, and it's like radiating from that to the outside. So radial balance, if you use a radial balance in your assignment 5, definitely your focal point should be in the center. So radial balance is used in most of the, this is a Notre Dame church window, a glass window. So see here, your focal point is definitely somewhere here. And it has been used by mandala. Mandala is kind of using certain shapes and patterns and do a composition to make a focus into the center. It has been used in Buddhism and Hinduism, and also the meditation. So all over pattern is also called a crystallographic balance. It's something like you use a same shape, like in a pattern way, you can rotate it, you can give it different textures, but having a pattern all over the composition. So some of the examples are these things, see, using this same shapes, repeating. So what will happen now if you do your assignment 5 something like this, using a letter and you place it all over the place in a pattern, where can you make the focal point? Does anyone have an idea about if you do, let's say you have a letter L, you do it like this and this in a pattern way. So where can you make the difference, the emphasis? How can you make it? Just anyone have any idea about it? How you make an emphasis in a all over pattern like this? Let's say we have, see here, how you make the focal point? Just only have to do a simple thing. You have, let's say you have the pattern here, you break the pattern in somewhere, just break in the pattern, that's it. If you break the pattern and if you look at the composition, you see that as a focal point. You see, oh, the pattern is missing here. So that's the easy way also to get the attention of a, if you are doing a design, if you have like a repeated thing, and if you break it at some point, that will be a focal point automatically. So you can use that one if you are doing your assignment 5. If you have these letters in a all over pattern like something like this, you can break it at somewhere, make the scale bigger or give a different color. Definitely it will give a viewer's attraction to that. So use these things when you are completing your assignment 5. These are some of the images for this all over pattern. See here, the birds will just change into the fish, but it has a repeated pattern. This one also, see here, this is a great example for this changing the pattern. See, the pattern is happening here like the leaves in a different directions all over the place, but suddenly you have a breakup here. You emphasize it with a different element putting into it. And balance can be achieved by color. I also explained it to you about when you were doing the assignment 5 also. Color can give, because that's why we use the one color. Color can change the emphasis also, and also it has color can use it to maintain the balance as well. See here, this whole black one balanced with this orange patch here. So it's like you can balance it with a dark and a bright color. Both, if you use dark color on one side, you can use the bright color on the other side and can make the balance. just like black and white. If you use black and white, black one side and white, it's also looking like almost balanced. See here how he used the color and this composition. See here that this big red patch balanced by this yellow bright color here. But your attention will definitely focus into the small part. It's almost like balanced because this darker is balanced by this small portion of brightness. If you have bright color, it is more focused. So if you use small portion of the bright color, you can balance almost the bigger part of the dark color as well. See here this image. And silhouette also, we use this in architecture, interior design, for the graphics as well. How it has been balanced, this whole dark color has been balanced by this white patch here. Even though it's, don't think about in the symmetrical or asymmetrical way, think about in the balancing of how it has been balanced by the color. These are some of the example. I will just go through it as quickly as possible because I need to speak to you about the study guide and also about your assignment 6 as well. So these are some of the examples. See how they use the color. And also when you are looking at a picture, just think about it in a horizontal manner, how it has been balanced, and vertical. See here, this one, when you are looking at it, if you are looking at it in a symmetrical way, it's not balanced. But if you are just thinking about how it has been balanced in this horizontal manner, see here, they put more weight on here and put weight on the top. So look into the picture in a different way rather than every time looking at it in a certain manner. So this is another good example of diagonal axis balanced. See how it has been balanced, these strips equally composed here, and this person in the middle, make it more balanced. See here, this one is not almost symmetrical, but it also show the balance with these two textures, light color and the dark. And here also, can you see this whole pattern is been balanced? And also you can see it in symmetrical, or you can see it is also like a brightness at the back and with a dark patch in the middle. This is how an artist use the texture and pattern also to give a balance to it. See, this whole thing has the same texture, but it more weighted on this side as well as onto this side. So this is looking like a more dark, and he has been balanced it with this lighter color on this side, on the floor. This is another good example of giving a balanced image. See, because of placing this keyboard in the middle, the big element, our eyes will definitely separate this as two parts. So these shapes and texture is almost like balanced with the bottom part. These are some of the example. These text put here and here, showing the balance and more weight on this side and having some weight on this here. This is another image, putting more using two different colors. See here, this image has been balanced with putting this color here and also applying some of the color onto this side as well. This is eye direction. This is like when you are looking at this one, you will not see this distorted image as it is, because your eyes will read as the figure, the head as one element. It's call that implied balance. And this is another one. We need to know about this one as well. This is the casual balance. This is like putting elements randomly, but you have to do it in a way to make it balance. See here, this image is having more weight on this side, but it has been balanced with these two tables on this side. So it's like positioning. Positioning elements is also called the casual balance. How you use your elements to compose it. And the other one is the eye direction, like the eye gaze. So like two people speaking to each other will also have this, make it more balanced, the image. See here, also the direction of it. Here, it's also make it more balanced. And looking at this image, see here, we see it as it's balanced with this axis. So eye gaze is also a way of making the composition balanced. So that's it for this one. Do you have any questions about this one, or I will go to the study guide? Shall I go to the study guide? Okay. I just went through it quickly. So you will have this quiz 3 week after next. Next week will be the spring break. After that, when you come, you will have the quiz 3. So the principle of balance refers to distribution of what within a composition. What do you think? It's about what? The balance principle is almost on what? Like I said in the beginning, it's about the visual weight. Totally about the weight, visual weight. That's the main thing. And when a composition is weighted with an imaging axis to divide top from bottom, I said top from bottom, what do you use? The horizontal axis. And composition is divided on the left and right, you will use the vertical axis. This refers to the symmetrical. And what is informal balance? I also explained in this lecture. Informal balance is asymmetrical balance. Yes. What is bilateral symmetry? It's the other thing, symmetrical balance. It's like left-hand side is totally the shapes that you use on the left-hand side will be the same on the right-hand side. What is isometric balance and what type of object are commonly used? So isometric balance, we are not using the same shapes. It's totally different shapes we are using, but try to make the visually the both on the left hand side and the right hand side to have the visually weighted, the equal weight. That's what we are trying to do with isometrical balance. You can use different shapes, but it needs to have equal weight on both sides. What is emphasis by contrast? So it's like in the all, what I said about the contrast is you have something on repeating thing, you break it like that. So do you remember that we learned about this one in the previous lecture, saying we have a directional thing, like everything is onto this direction and suddenly we change the direction on the other side, it has the contrast. And the other thing is about the color. You can use color also for the contrast and direction, and the scale and size. It's like you change the pattern suddenly, then you have these contrast elements. So that's how you make the emphasis by contrast. What will happen with the focal point placed too close to the edge of a composition? What will happen? I also told some of you guys not to put it at the corner of the image, the focal point. Then what will happen? The viewers, the direction for the composition will lose. They will just go out of the composition because it's almost, the focal point is almost outside your composition. So it will take away your eyes from the image. Is the following statement true or false? A focal point, however strong, should remain related to and part of overall design. What do you think? Is this true? Yes, it's true. The focal point is actually a part of your design. And can you have one or more focal points in your design? Can you have one focal point here, there? You can. It's true, but too many focal points will distort your image. But that's a different thing. But you can have more than one focal point in your design. Balance by position is an example of what type of balance? The final one that I told you, by balancing by keeping the elements different position, it's about the casual balance. The final one I explained to you about having 3 people on this side. To balance it, we can position tables on, he has used tables to balance it on the right hand side. So that's the study guide. And just for the next assignment is now today and for this first lab session, you will work on the assignment 5 and finish it. And assignment 6 introduction will be on lab session 2. On that day, make sure you bring your acrylic paints. Okay, just bring the acrylic paint. But I think but you need to have the color. I will tell you, you work on the assignment 5 on the lab session 2, because you need to do the color lecture to start working on it. So there is a problem with that one. But so you will finish and we will start the assignment 6 after the spring break. Okay. This one?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, I have.